Our first set of talks for GDoc 2025 center on production. Having a plan, being able to execute it, keep on track, those are good ways to help decrease stress, decrease crunch, and hopefully get your project from start to finish. And whether you're on a small team, a large team, or even a solo dev, part of the production process is learning how to work with the people you're working with, how to match their rhythm, follow their steps. Our first speaker on the stage is here to help you understand how to find the producer's beat. She brings her experience not just from game dev, but also from partner dance. So please welcome from Blue Tango Street, the co-founder and creative lead, Bayan Mashat.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for coming to the Producer's Beat, finding the production rhythm for your game and team. A little bit about me. My name is Bayan Mashat. I graduated from UC Davis. I majored in computer science. Since then, I worked on multiple game companies, indies and AAAs. I worked as a game designer, game programmer, and game producer, including Will Wright's Gallium Studios working on his upcoming AI game Proxi. I also worked at Microsoft's Turn 10 Studios working on Forza Motorsport. I am now running my own game studio called Blue Tango Street. We released our first game, Backspace, last year. It's available on Steam. And now we're preparing to release our second game, Sips and Sonnets. It's a narrative game about tea, poetry, and life after retirement. It should be out this September, so make sure you check it out, and I hope you enjoy it. I am also a ballroom dancer and instructor. I got a diploma in teaching, and it massively improved both my physical and mental health, as well as helped me become a better game producer, actually. So I highly recommend it. Now, let's talk about the role of a producer. As producers, we are the heartbeat of game development, especially if we are working especially if we're working with a team, because if you are a solo developer, you are the producer as well. Our job is all about balancing scope, schedule, and sanity. Sometimes in that order, and sometimes not. And that's okay. That's the trick here. It's about balancing. And from what I've learned, both in game development and dancing, is that it's not just about timelines or schedules. It's about the tempo, the rhythm that keeps everything moving smoothly. Speaking of rhythm, let's talk about why rhythm matters. So let's start by defining rhythm. Rhythm is strong, regular, repeated pattern of movement or sound. But in game development, I like to think about it as the way your team works together over time. You might be familiar with the term velocity in Agile or Scrum. I want you to think about it like that, but add to it the flow and the feel, how your team communicates, how your team collaborates, and how your team builds feedback loops. All that contributes to the flow that you're trying to feel and even structure for your team. Now, let's talk about the difference between the rhythm and the process. When you think about process, I want you to think about it as the tools like Agile or Trello or Git or even the game engine, whatever. It's the structures. It's whatever you use. But the rhythm is more about how the team reacts and acts together through these tools. It's the flow of collaboration. It's the feedback loop. It's how the team works about delivery and connecting together in one place, whether it's online or offline. A lot of producers think that Their job is all about hitting milestones. It's all about hitting that target date or sticking to that schedule. But it's less of that. This is actually the end goal. Our job as producers is to help the team to find the best way to hit these milestones, these dates, targets, and working with the best schedule that fits the team and the game. You can have a perfect process on paper and all the tools you have and everything is up to date and all these shiny, but if the rhythm is off with your team, everything will feel disjointed. And that dissonance is what kills momentum. And we all know what happens when momentum is killed. Progress doesn't happen, the team doesn't feel good, and you will hate your job. And we don't want that. So, how do we prevent that? We tune into the team's tempo. So, the most important piece of advice I can give about game production in general, and if there's one takeaway, if there's one thing you learn from this talk, I hope this is it, which is one size does not fit all. Not every team moves the same, and not every project needs the same pace, and not every person thrives under the same rhythm. What works in AAA does not work in indie. What works in indie with this team does not work with indie for that team. And what works in this team for this game might not work for the exact same team, but with a different game. So make sure that you have this understanding in the back of your head. Not everything works the same across everything. This is in my opinion where producers shine. When we succeed at finding the tempo that feels the most connected to the team, between each other and to the game that they're making, then everything is supposedly to be happy. This will help shape it into something cohesive, sustainable, and just productive. Here is a small diagram that can help you. Um, I heard this term somewhere and I really liked it. It's called organized creativity, which is funny because creativity can be chaotic. It should be chaotic. Some people will believe, I believe creativity should be free, but your job as a producer is not to kill it. Your job as a producer, especially if you are working with a team that needs to deliver this game and make it out, release it, then help organize that creativity. Help your team stay focused, solving these creative challenges and not just chase this deadline or stick to this timeline. Production shouldn't feel like a grind. And this is just a simple way of thinking about it. Observe what the team is doing, listen to them, propose solutions, ask, a lot of asking. uh, uh, Implement that solution, but also again observe. This is why this diagram doesn't have any arrows, because it could go anyway, and it's just a process of repeating and adapting until you find the tempo that fits the team and the game. Now, what about the beat? How do we identify the beat? Uh, you can have a fast tempo or a steady tempo, but a broken rhythm. What does that mean? If your team is sprinting, but they're not aligned, you'll trip over each other. This is one of the I don't have numbers, but I I can tell this is one of the most common mistakes a lot of teams fall into, which is not being aligned on the same vision or the same process even. So make sure that the team is aligned at the beginning of the process, beginning of the development, during development, and even at the end. Second thing is a steady beat helps set expectations. This means predictable reviews, regular builds for testing, weekly stand-ups that actually work for your team, not against them. Basically, bunch of frameworks or tasks. Nah, I don't want to think about it as tasks. More about weekly behavioral exercises that the team can agree to do, just to set expectations and make sure that you try it and see if it works or not. And the last thing is, when your rhythm is solid, production should feel smooth. It's not just when things happen, it's more about how they happen together. And that's the sweet spot. That's it for the talk today. As you go back to your teams and projects and exciting games, I encourage you to think about it, about production as a dancer. Try to feel the rhythm, try to listen to the beat, try to move in sync. It's think about game production and dancing, and I hope it makes sense or at least help you a little bit when thinking about what's best for your team and game. Because I am a firm believer that making games should be as fun as playing them as much as possible, because game development is challenging. It has a lot of obstacles, and I totally acknowledge that. However, the overall experience shouldn't feel like you hate it, shouldn't feel like you don't like it, and it shouldn't lead to crunch and other things that will affect how you feel and the team feels. Like, let's have fun. How about that? Thank you again, and best of luck in your projects.
Now, if you've had a good producer in the past, you understand how powerful it is to be able to work with somebody who matches your rhythm, who finds your steps and beat, and helps enable you to do the things on the team to the best of your ability. And if you are that producer, I hope that you've been able to learn a little bit from this talk. If you'd like to learn more, you can follow Bayan on Blue Sky at BM Mashat, or you can email her at theboss@bluetangostreet.com.